staying alive. The options are not manifold the, of what we need to do. But the most important thing is to keep uh, hope alive within you. Um, you have to know that there are going to be restless moments. There are going to be uh, restless nights where you have to think about what next to do. I I would have been pleased, but I'm seeing a little more, some of it. I would have been pleased if there was um, um, a large, let's say, well, let me back off from that because that might be a bit controversial. But uh, the last thing you want to do is to make those who are dependent on you feel your air of 6 to 8 months. This situation has not made things better for her and for others that have approached the likes of us for employment opportunities. It's going to be a bit tough, but I think that we just have to stick it out and see what the next level is. It never gets dark to the end. As a matter of fact, usually when it gets dark, it is an indication of the light that's about to come, to put it figuratively. But that's about the best that I can say.
I'm just going to interject there, and I'm going to ask Wakesho maybe to we've received and questions that maybe we've received for Gaby.
Okay. So the first question is from Pat Lesole. She says, are there any current financial services available that we could use to support Black communities today? That is with reference to COVID-19. Then the second question is from Mina Sindane, or he asks, sorry, something worries me. I am impressed about your generation that in spite of those, what is the younger generation lacking that you had? For example, in SA pre-1994, for every white child who graduated, there was another Black child. Now, for every Black child graduating, 5 or 6 white kids are graduating. I am worried that we will have a similar situation pre-1994, but this time will not be appetite, but lack of skills or qualifications.
The first, let me start with this. This is a longer question. Let me answer that first. The generations, what is the younger generation, what do they lack that we had? And I think that there are a number of things that younger people need to understand, and one of the things is do not be wasteful of the time that you have, the spare time that you could use for planning purposes. I don't get a sense that young people sit down and plan their lives sufficiently well um, to become competitive in this world that is very competitive. Um, the, the, the generation the, of the COVID pandemic would need quite a bit of help from those that govern it. It is important that some risks are taken and this will also answer the first question. Some risks are taken by our fiscal authorities to provide funding and to allow for opportunities for these young, unemployed, but skilled people to take advantage of. For example, I look around and and suddenly see a plethora of what they call PPE, whether it is that is being provided in schools, in hospitals, in workplaces. And I ask myself the question, who in fact is in the manufacture of what is basically a low level of opportunity that does not require huge resources and complex equipment.
Mm.
It would have been great if this opportunity was given as a priority to the younger people of today that are being prejudiced or put on the back foot by COVID-19, with provision of resources in funding, in the creation of business plans, and most importantly in being mentored and supported by a group of people such as us who have a little bit more time because we are retired to work in partnership with these young people in how to create businesses and make them successful. And also, these young people uh, can use the networks that we have created over time, during our careers, to help them organizations where whatever it is that they manufacture would be distributed and marketed into those organizations. But it first starts with the will of our fiscal authorities and government in creating the resources for these young people to take advantage of. And this should be done regionally in a systematic, structured manner. I am convinced that these young would-be entrepreneurs would be able to guarantee of some sort from the fiscal authorities who will take a knock should some of these businesses not succeed. So I recommend, and I'm calling upon those that are listening from the government authorities, whether it is the development institutions, whether it is the whether it is the Development Bank of South Africa, whether it is wherever it is, to provide, if they themselves cannot do it for the unemployed core of new people, to provide the necessary guarantees that they should be able to realize their dreams and provide for themselves.
Hmm.
In fact, there could not have that from COVID provides than the creation of a new crop of entrepreneurs from the young people, so that the dependence on employment should shift from on the dependence on one's livelihood should shift from the seeking of employment into that will provide for the future and compete with. I think that.
Given the interest of time, rush you there, Gabby, because all the points that you are raising are very, very valid. That if you are an SMME and you're starting out, for you to take on a loan from a bank is almost suicide, because you don't have the necessary cash flow in order to guarantee your very own success. What would you say to the youth of today with regards to all the lessons that you've learned about persisting, about how to be a leader, having hope, and having that mental fortitude? What would you say today to that young entrepreneur, that young professional that is looking at this as an opportunity, or is looking this as a challenge, to step ahead? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just I'll come to that very briefly, but I just want to just point out that you're right in saying financial institutions are not going to be able to provide and take the risk of supporting new enterprises and those that that have no track record. But the point I was making here, and hopefully I'd like to make it again, is that that the lending and of the provision of finance to these startup of, entrepreneurs has to happen with the assistance of guarantee schemes, and that is common in many financial in many economies. Go to Brazil and many other places, you'll find that governments support banks, and they provide that nest that should you not be able to repay the loan when the business is running, then the government stands as a guarantee, and this is really what I'm pleading for. All right. And moving to the preparation of young people for today's world, I think young people ought to always prepare for cycles of adversity and cycles of prosperity. In any economy, you have those cycles, and young people have to prepare themselves for that. And I've mentioned the fact that young people should actually try to be so not to be wasteful of time. Time is a huge resource. Time should be used for planning. It should be used for implementing what needs to be implemented. Thirdly, young people should also know their history. What I have spoken about and what other leaders have spoken about in terms of creating, of preparing for adversity is part of one's history. We have to spend time as young people reading, educating ourselves, and being ready to be mentored. And most importantly, all of that should be underpinned by integrity. It should be underpinned by a good reputation, because the last thing you want to do is to get into a business which will undermine your ability to remain reputable. Remember always that your reputation will support you throughout your career, because that's a slide rule. It is a slide rule by which other people are going to judge you, including those who lend money, those who are your customers, those who want to work for you. They're going to do it on the basis of your integrity and your, what do I call it, the reputation. That is something that I always feel that I should share with young people, that do not rush into opportunities, business opportunities that cannot stand their ground, that do not have the basis of integrity. Whatever you buy, the fact that you are a young person, your life is still unfolding. You do not want to mar your life today by entering into a business relationship that will prejudice your growth going forward.
Wow. I'm going to hand over to my colleague once again, Wakesho, to help me with some of the comments and questions that we have from the different participants throughout the continent, actually throughout the globe. Wakesho?
Yes, so we have 3 comments. Mina says that why do we always want to get employed and not employ? Should we not teach our children to establish businesses rather than want to be employed? Let us establish our businesses and employ our children. Mary agrees with everything that Gaby has said. And then we also have Musima, who says, self-efficacy is regarded as a differentiator between those who succeed and those who persevere to succeed under any situation. Please, may you share the mindset that is a requirement for staying motivated and committed regardless. So let me ask that again. Please, may you share the mindset that is a requirement for staying motivated and committed. Yeah, so motivated and committed regardless. That's it.
That is, okay. The mindset that will assist us in staying motivated is the mindset that is open to new ideas. It is and also a mindset that is open to adventure and risk. When there is nothing of scale that can be achieved if we don't adventure, and nothing can be gained if we do not open our minds to new ideas that may not have been implemented in the past. Now, the, the, the today, I, as an elder person, um, struggle or might find myself struggling with, for example, technology. Well, why would I? But the truth or the fact is that technology is going to continue to expand. Therefore, young people have to open their minds to the fact that if they do not keep abreast with the changes in society, the changes in issues, for example, of environmental challenges, that climate change and the weather patterns are going to change, are beginning to actually exhibit those changes.
Mm.
If we are resistant to opening up our minds, the commitment will not arrive on its own. The commitment will be based on not only on the acceptance and the broad, acceptance of the fact that the change is forever present. If that is not something that you accept in your mind as a young person, and open yourself to reading, for goodness sake, I cannot restate this, that we have to continually read, find out what is new, and spend less time in areas where we entertain ourselves, but more time in finding out how things work, as opposed to how I can use the thing. But just find out a little bit more about how the technology, how do you actually open up something that seems like a laptop or a cell phone. What makes it work? That is a culture, I suspect, that has not been sufficiently ingrained within our education system. And for that, I would like to go back to our authorities, because it is something that has got to be somewhat implanted during our formative years. But those who are already out of school, that are venturing into businesses, venturing into other such life events, ought to open themselves up to the fact that we are living in a world where there is consistent change. And we need to examine what it is and how it's going to affect us and affect our business.
My word.
I hope that answers Musima's question on how we commit, how we stay motivated and committed to this change.
Regardless, I think you've answered that excellently.
I'd like to say that we have to understand that COVID-19 is a challenge such as perhaps the world has never seen. But it is not the end of the world. COVID-19 is probably one of the most difficult challenges. It doesn't, that has challenges to the core, shaking humankind to the core. But what we need to do now is to prepare ourselves for the post-COVID-19 environment. There isn't a better time to prepare yourself than when you are facing adversity, as I said earlier on when I was describing prison conditions as a youth in my particular situation and those who were with me. And consider COVID-19 as one of those dire happenings in our lifetime that we will look back maybe 10 years from today and say, what did I achieve during that period? Those who are in lockdown have to research and search for new way of earning a living, and to answer the question on, or even to reinforce what was said by one of the listeners, was that we have to move more and more from being job seekers into job makers. I agree entirely with that sentiment. And
Mm.
maybe COVID-19 lockdown provides that opportunity for us to be thinking about new ways of doing business.
Sir, I'd like to thank you um, for your words. Um, and I think all of us are going to take these words and maybe revisit this very recording because there's so much potency behind them. But for right now, I'd like to ask Itumeleng Malebie to just give a vote of thanks for us. And for me, just to also give honor to Itumeleng being an embodiment of what you've just described, somebody that mentors youth, somebody that opens up channels. And one of the youths that he has mentored recently patented a robot that can cook pap, believe it or not, within the lockdown duration. So these changes, these challenges that we're seeing of food shortages on the continent, maybe even a thing of the past. But I want to ask Itu, would you maybe just give us a vote of thanks to the guest and to the participants? Over to you.
Hi. Thank you very much. Maru, thanks for the kind words, and for everybody, who has participated, this evening. Thanks for making time, to listen to Dr. Magomola, and then those who posted questions, also, thanks, for doing that. And I also really would like to thank, the executive committee, of the Pan-Africa Leaders Networking Forum, Karina Kambi, based in Ghana and West Africa, Wakesho Kililo, based in Kenya and East Africa, Maruezani and myself, here in South Africa. Now, regarding going forward, I would want to say to everybody, really that, we have had quite a number of, lectures, including the one today, phenomenal indeed. And then I think the guests, that we have had, on this platform, in the next 6 months or so, they would probably, and I'm sure they would want to hear from us, as to what has transpired, 6 months earlier. Imagine we're in November 2020 right now. We cannot be talking for too long. We need to get the plans in place and then execute, on those plans, so to speak. The key thing that I think we are definitely slowly achieving is to get Africans to begin to talk to each other. And I hope it will not just end up, with these webinars, that we do, but, please, everybody else in South Africa, Tanzania, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, as of tomorrow, please, let's just start communicating with each other, get to understand who's who, who's doing what, and, so that, really, we get Africans to interconnect. It's very, very crucial, that happens. Once that happens, you will find that, it's going to be a lot easier now, to share, some of the crucial ideas that could help all of us, really, to take our continent, to another level, so to speak. Yes, I can't wait for a day where we manufacture golf balls, where we manufacture our own jeans, where we feed ourselves, instead of chicken coming from elsewhere and ships, from other parts of the world. Where we really need, those kind of factories. And let's have some, socio-economic justice, as well, so to speak. Yes, we are under, some countries are under lockdown, but obviously there are restrictions, in terms of travel. We have, long summers, in Africa, and perhaps, some countries actually have, summers in perpetuity. You know, we should, really, be having, especially students at universities, crisscrossing the entire continent. Especially during the same thing that happens during summer in Europe, the same thing that happens in North America, during the summer months, we could be having it here, in Africa, and you will find that it will create new industries, before we know it, what we call the Gautrain, here in South Africa, which is just as good as the tubes, in London, or the London Underground, or the subways in New York, or other subways anywhere else in the world. We could, potentially be having all these in major cities all over Africa, and we could and we should, across, the African continent. And I really hope that after this session, Karina, Wakesho, Maru, let's have, another session where we may not necessarily have a guest and reevaluate. We need to reevaluate. We've been at it now, for 3 months. Where are we? And where are we going? Get everybody, really, to send in the ideas, and then let's see how, we actually advance our continent, going forward. And Dr. Magomola, thank you very much, for making time. You've been a great mentor and a great leader to many. We have read about you, a lot, and there are a lot of people, who speak very highly of you. We appreciate everything, that you have done, for young people, and even older people, in Southern Africa and elsewhere on the continent. And I know also in the United States, you embarked on some mentorship programs for a lot of African Americans that I know. So we really would like to thank you for that. And generally, other people might want to know how to contact you afterwards. Some might want to get hold of your book and things like that. We will share the email. We'll also share the YouTube recording, of this. And I'm sure that, we will report back to you and those who have been on this platform before in the next 6 months. We say we have had a webinar, so what? What has happened? Yeah, thank you. I'll hand you over to you, Maru. Thanks.
From my side, Gaby, thank you so much for your words. They are not taken lightly. Thank you also for being so honest about some of the challenges that maybe we brush aside about your journey to leadership, your journey to success. The fact that there are ups and there are lows. There are points where you're sitting at the boardroom table, but then there are lows where you don't know how you're going to survive or feed your family, and the mental state thereof. So we really appreciate that boldness, that honesty. We're thankful for all the participants that managed to join us. And we hope that once COVID is finished and lockdown is a thing of the past, that we'll have a coffee and get to meet face to face. Maybe even come visit Summer Place in the East Rand for some lunch there. Thank you everyone for joining us for this webinar. Really appreciate your time. We appreciate your comments. Fortunately, we couldn't get through all of the comments and all of the questions. We do have a recording of all the questions that did come through. We will post them through to the guest. But as Karina had pointed out earlier, please do just contact any one of the EXCOs that had invited you to this particular webinar in order to join the ongoing conversation on WhatsApp. Let's use technology to achieve these goals that we want. Thank you so much. It's 15 minutes past. We appreciate your time, and we're going to love and leave you. Thank you so much. From my side, that's it.
It's a pleasure.
Gabe.
Hey, sir.
Hey, this is Kabina. How you doing?
Kabina, I'm well, thank you. How are you?
You look well. I am well. Thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed hearing what you had to say.
I'm glad that you could sit and listen and And you know, the little presentation, I hope it meant something for you.
Absolutely, and I want to say thank you for your sacrifice. We will talk.
We will talk, man. We will talk, Kabina.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you so much. We will leave it at that.
Marvin, can the exco guys wait and then so we can catch up on a few things, you, Wakesho, and Karina?
Will do.
Alright. Thank you. I mean, once everybody has, will have logged out.
Yeah. All right, no problem.